Alright, today we're going to work on factoring expressions using the distributive property. We used the distributive property a little bit before we took off for the Christmas break, so we're going to get back to it and work on the second step of it. Before, we took a equation that was already set up in the distributive property and made it into the long form. Today we're doing the complete opposite. We're going to go from a problem that has two big numbers and we're going to factor it down and put it into the distributive property, adding parentheses and a number that we're going to multiply. So the steps of it, first, they sound difficult, but once you see them, they're easy. It says find the greatest common factor of the numbers in the equation. So the equation we're going to start with is, we'll go with something simple. We'll go 8 plus 10. Alright, so the greatest common factor of 8 and 10, just looking at it, 2 will go into both, and that's the only number that will go into both of them. So 2 is going to be my greatest common factor, so I'm just going to put it down here. Now, step 2 says put the GCF, which was 2, outside of parentheses. So we're going to put a set of parentheses, and we're going to leave them pretty big so we have room to put stuff in there because there is stuff that's going to go in. 3, it says divide the values in the equation. The values in the equation are 8 and 10. By the GCF is 2, and put the divided values inside the parentheses with the math sign was the addition sign, from the original expression. Alright, so read that again. Divide the values in the equation by the GCF, so 8 divided by 2 is 4, so put it here, and 10 divided by 2 is 5, and then put the original sign back in there, and the addition sign goes in. So this right here factored down, 8 plus 2 factored down, can be 2 times 4 plus 5, because you're going to multiply everything inside the parentheses by the number outside of it. So 2 times 4 is going to be 8. Bring our addition symbol down. 2 times 5 is 10. So it's pretty simple stuff once you know how to do it. You're going to need to either, once you get started on the assignment for the day, either just keep this open in a different tab to where you have these steps to make sure that you get them for the first 5 or 6 questions to where you get the hang of it, and also for working the example problems. You may have to rewind a little bit after you write your problems down, but I'm going to do a few example problems for you. So if I have one that says 36 plus 20. Alright, I'm looking at them, finding the greatest common factor of these two. So I know 2 will go into both of them, but that's not the highest. And I can always go and do my factor trees that I did at the beginning of the year to find the greatest common factor. So I'll do that real quick just so we have another example of that. 36 would be, we'll go 4 times 9. 4 times 9, 4 is going to split into 2 and 2. 9 will split into 3 and 3. So here we have 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. 20 is going to split into, we'll say 2 and 10. This goes into 2 and 5. So here we have 2 times 2 times 5. And all the matches you can take out. So we have a 2 that matches there. We have another 2 that matches there. We have no other matches, so the greatest common factor is going to be 2 times 2, which is 4. So I can go ahead and put 4 here in my parentheses, which is step 2, and now I'll go to step 3. The first one divided by the GCF, 36 divided by 4 is 9. 20 divided by 4 is 5. Bring down the math symbol. So that right there, 36 plus 20, is factored down into 4 times the answer to 9 plus 5. So 4 times 9, we can check our work. 4 times 9 is 36. Bring our addition symbol down. 4 times 5 is 20. That was just me checking the work. This is going to be your actual answer for factoring this problem. Alright, so I'll do another one. I'll go 8q plus 32q. I can look at this problem right here, and I can either factor it out like this, or I can just know off the top of my head that 8 will go into 32. 8 times 4 is 32. So the greatest common factor of these two is going to be 8. So 8 is going to go outside the parentheses, but you have a q here, you have a variable that you have to keep. So this one is going to be, just have q, plus 8 divided by 32 is 4 with the q. So 4q. So 8 times q, 8q. 8 times 4q is 32q. So this will be the answer here. I'm going to set up a couple different example problems, or actually 3. We have 9 plus 21, 14 plus 21, and 80 plus 56. Alright, so I'm going to do the first one for you, so you have an example on this page, and then you're going to do 2 and 3 on your own. So looking at 9 and 21, I know by looking at them that 3 will go into both using my divisibility rules. So I'm going to go ahead and put 3 outside the parentheses. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 21 divided by 3 is 7. Bring over my symbol, it's the addition sign. And it can be addition or subtraction. I've just used addition every time. So that's going to be my answer here. So what I want you to do is, in just a second, you're going to pause the video and you're going to work number 2 and number 3 as well. So at this time, pause the video and work these out. I will work them out for you after. Alright, you should have had these done by now. Alright, so this one here, number 2, 14 plus 21. The only number that goes into both of these is 7. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Bring over our addition symbol, and there's your answer for number 2. Number 3, 80 plus 56. This is a pretty big problem here, so I'm going to go ahead and factor these two numbers out, just to make sure that I get my greatest common factor correct. So I know 8 times 7 is 56. 8 can split into 2 and 4, and then 4 splits into 2 and 2. So in my box down here, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3 2's, so 2 times 2 times 2, and then a 7 times 7. So 80, I'm going to have 8 and 10, split 8 into 2 and 4, 4 into 2 and 2, split 10 into 2 and 5. So in this box, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4 2's and a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 5. Alright, so I have 1, 2, 3 2's there. They'll pair it with those 3, so 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we'll have 2 times 2 times 2 for my greatest common factor. I've got no other pairs. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8. So my GCF here is going to be 8. GCF of 80 and 56 is 8. So I'm going to put it outside the parentheses. 80 divided by 8 is 10. Bring my addition symbol over. 56 divided by 8 is 7. So there's my answer for number 3. And remember, if they have numbers with them, if they have variables with them, the variables have to stay. So if this was 14x, then I would have had to I'd had to bring the x over. So when I divided 14x by 7, it would have ended up with 2x. So as you're working problems on IXL, you need to know that the variables have to stay with them. So pretty simple. Good luck.